Back on Morning Line. If you'd like to join in the conversation, 737-7587. Buford Tune's with us. I'm going to let you say a few things. I'm going to pipe down for Terry and let you answer some questions. All right, so what did you think of the last caller with regard to the idea of folks in a church and, you know, the upbringing and all that? Aren't people just sometimes, though, just mean?
Yes. I mean, people can change overnight for who knows what reason. It could be domestic, it could be loss of a job, it could be bad traffic, it could be anything in today's world. It just makes people snap and go off the deep end, and who knows what it's going to result in. So again, it comes back to the indicators that the family, the friends, or the people that you work with can pick up on and say, hey, Bubba, what's the problem? Let's talk.
Yeah.
And if they keep talking about, well, you know, okay, well, I've got thousands of rounds of ammo and I've got 10,000 guns and knives, and one of these days they're going to push me too far, somebody needs to say something.
But then even if they do, what honestly can law enforcement do at this point if people have not done anything illegal?
There's nothing they can do except we got a matter of record here that they can go under this microscope and, okay, you know, just like the guy was talking about the gun dealers. You know, you come in to my place to buy a gun, you say something the wrong way or you act wrong, get out. I don't have to sell you that gun.
You're a private businessman.
Exactly. And I've had people want to argue with me. This is a place, it's a public, no, it's not a public place. This is private property. And you come into my house, you act by my rules.
You probably turned clients away sometimes.
Oh, yes. I know several gun shops that have.
Okay.
And when this happens, you know, myself and several other people we will report these people to the TBI and to the ATF. And, you know, they're little bulletins that go out, you know, on people coming in to say you got a straw purchase, where that if I know that I can't buy a gun, Nick and I will go into Bubba's gun shop, and Nick, that's the one I want right there. And so if the person behind the counter picks up on this and he sells the gun to Nick for me, he's going to prison.
Yeah.
And plus, both of us. Exactly. It's called a straw purchase, and we see this all the time. You know, a wife trying to buy one for a husband who's a convicted felon or whatever. We see this a lot. So you know, when people are making personal sales on guns, they need to kind of take a little bit on their self. It's like on our website, there is a bill of sale that you can go in and print out. It's got the same questions on it, just like the 4473 forms. Now, that does not mean this person's not going to allow their rear end off.
Right.
But at least it gives you a record of who you sold it to. And if this person, you know, if you, okay, maybe I'm paying you more than the gun's worth. Well, why?
Yeah, right. Okay, and so maybe then that's enough to get them to back off. When you talk about going after people and watching them that way, it makes me think of that Tom Cruise movie Minority Report a few years back, which wasn't a great movie, but it was an interesting concept where they were able to arrest people for crimes that was predicted they were going to commit.
Right.
In the real world, you just can't do that. All right, let's go next to Keith. Hi, Keith.
Hello.
Good morning, Keith.
Hey, well, first of all, I'm a true believer of children learn what they live. My question, I'm starting to see more and more people around town with carry permits, a weapon on their side, and I always go up to them and I ask them, what is the process and how much does it cost? It amazes me how many different stories I hear. So my question is to the gentleman is, what is the process and how much does it cost? Because I am a legal gun owner and I'm wanting to get a carry permit where I have it on my side. And the other thing is, what is the name of his business and his location? And I'll hang up and listen.
This is one reason you like coming on the show. Thank you. Go ahead.
It's Academy of Personal Protection and Security. We're at 1161 Murfreesboro Pike here in Nashville. We charge $55 for one person and $90 for two if they both come at the same time.
Okay.
The process would be you have to register. You have to call my office, 615-360-6002. You have to register there with our office manager, Teresa, and then she will send you an email telling you how to sign up for the class through the state. Once you signed up, we'll assign you they will assign you a confirmation number that is says that's what you take to the state to get your permit. Then you complete the class, you complete the gun range, you go to the state, you register with them and pay the fees. The lifetime permit now is $300.
Okay.
And you can get the 8-year permit. It's $105, I think is what it is for the 8-year permit.
All right.
And then you come back, you do the background check, you go home and sit and wait, and it'll come in the mail.
And then that permit then allows you to carry your weapon with you.
Correct.
And it could be either concealed or exposed.
That is correct.
I'm just curious what your public opinion is, and I've seen this, and I have no problems with people carrying their legal weapons. I don't. But I do a little double take. I was walking into a grocery the other day, and a guy came walking out with 6 guns, right here, exposed to see and legal. I just kind of did a double take,
Right.
And so exposing it, certainly everyone's there to see.
Right.
But on the other hand, I guess my preference would be I don't mind you carrying it, but it can be a little intimidating saying that. What do you think?
It's the constitutional right to carry.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, I understand.
And to open carry.
Yeah.
Back when this law went into effect, it was proposed to make it a concealed. But the problem was nobody could actually come up and define concealed, because you didn't want to be walking across a parking lot and the wind blow your jacket open and some officer says, I just saw your gun, you're going to jail.
Okay.
So it's an open or concealed, either or. Now, we strongly press concealed for the simple reason of we've been taught all of our lives, if something happens, you take out the immediate threat first.
Right.
The immediate threat is the person that I see with the weapon, whether it be a sword, a spear, a gun, or whatever it may be.
So what you're saying is that some people may say, I want to carry it exposed because that's going to say, don't mess with me. But what you're saying is if there's a bad guy and he's coming in there and he sees you, you're the first one he's going to take out.
And this is a double-edged sword, so you got to pick which side you're going to go with. I don't care. It's up to you. I'm not going to carry open. And matter of fact, if you go look at 90% of police policies out here, off-duty officers are required to conceal.
Interesting. All right. Let's see. We just lost Brian. If he wants to call back, we'll grab his phone call on that as we had him in there. All right. So what do you think about many of these churches specifically, in light of the recent shootings, and other organizations now bringing in trainers to get them to prepare for an active shooter situation? You've done it a long time, and I'm sure there are some other groups out there that are certified to do it properly, but what do they need to look for in terms of hiring someone to do this to make sure they're not getting some fly-by-nights that are popping up now?
You've got to do the background yourself. Just don't take the person who's got the biggest ad in the yellow pages or the largest website, or can say I was this or I was that. They can tell you anything. Verify who these people are, because you've got so many good people out here. Myself and there's several good people that are teaching these courses, but you got to know which ones to go to. The people who want to come in and teach you in 2 hours how to search a building and take somebody out, that's not the person you want, because they're going through these courses and it's a 40 to 60 hour course. To do this stuff. Most of the active shooter programs that are out there that involve security and so forth are a minimum of 8 hours. And I've attended these training courses, and they're intense. The simple handgun carry permit training is not enough. Training that's out there. Now, if a person's got law enforcement or military type background, that's going to add to it. But you've got to verify these people. We're getting calls right now left and right from churches, from daycares, from senior citizen centers, and it's amazing that you got to go to this. But this is the reason we call our course active shooter / intruder, because it's not just a shooter that you've got to worry about. It's the domestic violence intruder. It's the person coming in with a machete, the knife. It's other things, the one that drives the pickup truck through your front door. So we do the security safety surveys along with everything else that's involved.
That's okay. I think that's a good idea, because the truth is, as much as it's been in the news lately, mass murders like this are still rare. Unlike robberies and burglaries, which happen every darn day. Those are the ones really, and it is such a shame when you just mentioned to me about how you're hearing from senior citizens and nursing homes, things like, Because I know those people are scared.
Right.
And I don't live in fear. I know it can happen. Heck, a TV station like this, you know as well as I do, is a target.
Yeah, you make a lot of friends here.
Yeah,
so,
exactly. So I mean, it's a target, but I don't live in fear. But I know a lot of people, especially some, that maybe are alone or they're afraid. And I hate that that's happening.
Another step to the process that we throw in there that I've heard of maybe a couple other people are doing too is a trauma class.
Ooh.
This actually teaches you, because if the person's teaching this program correctly, they're going to teach you that if you do have an intruder shooter come in, the police are going to be 10, 15, 20, 30 minutes away depending on what's going on.
Okay.
So you're laying in here bleeding, what do you do?
Yeah.
So this trauma class teaches you, it's taught, we've got actual medical personnel that come in and teach this course.
It's a great idea.
And they come in and teach you what to do to save your kids, your family, or your friends' lives, or your own life until help gets there. Because the police are coming in. They're coming in not for you. They're coming in to go to that shooter.
Right.
So you be laying there with your guts hanging out. They're going to walk right by you.
Yeah, because they're...
And the medical's not coming in
until
it's clear for them to come in. So this trauma class, we're getting several calls on it now.
Actually, that's a great idea, because at that moment, and you're showing them how to deal with gunshot wounds, or stab wounds,
exactly.
and the like. Let's go to Brian. Brian, go ahead.
Hey, good morning. You know that I spent 10 years in Chicago. That's where I made my millions. And then when I came down here, it was a totally different culture. In Chicago, they all carry, and they conceal carry. They don't open carry because you can't. Until recently, you couldn't even. You couldn't even carry. Even if you took a class or something, they had lawsuits, and it's still really difficult. It's one of the most difficult places in the country. It seems like everything northeast, and you can't, except for like Pennsylvania, Ohio, but they all carry anyway. I mean, they don't care. They don't care. There's like, and if the police, I know if they caught them, if they knew you, or if they liked you, or they didn't think you're a threat, sometimes they would arrest you, sometimes they wouldn't. It's a weird situation, so it's good that they have this uniform thing. Now, personally, myself, I wouldn't do it. I'm not a big gun fan, but I think that it's a right, and that I think it has, besides the shootings that we've had, I know that there's been cases, especially in Texas, where people have tried to come and they've been shot dead immediately.
No, he's right about that.
Yeah.
I mean, and by the way, you told me in the past, I mean, I've heard laws differ on guns from state to state, and that Illinois is one. You better be careful when you're traveling with a gun from here if you happen to be driving and you have a gun in the car. They can be pretty strict up there, can't they? I think maybe you told me that, or someone else, that you just have to make sure you know what the laws are of the state you're going to with the weapon,
when you get above Kentucky, people talk funny and laws are funny. So
you better be sure, right?
Exactly. I think it's, if I'm correct, it's Ohio. When you get pulled over by the police in that state, the first words out of your mouth has got to be, I am armed and I have a permit, or you go to jail.
Okay, so
you've got to know the laws of each state that you go to. There's one state, I can't remember which one is off the top of my head, it's against the law to carry the gun into a boisterous location. So
define
now,
that for me.
Exactly.
Right.
So I mean, so each state has their own sets of laws that you've got to be aware of.
Yeah. All right. Let's take a break on that note. When we come back, more of your phone calls, more of our conversation, as you see, talking about these mass shootings, what can be done about them, where we go from here, with Buford Tune right after this.